There's no music anymore.
What?
Yeah, I don't have all my setup here.
Oh.
It's very sad. I know. But I want to welcome everyone back to this week's edition of the Northern Nerdcast, where we showcase the geeky and nerdy people, groups, and events that happen in and around the city of Edmonton. The Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. Please feel free to head on over to albertapodcastnetwork.com for a list of amazing Alberta-made podcasts. We would also like to encourage everyone out there that if you enjoy this episode, to share it with all your friends on social media. This way, we are able to help grow the community here in Edmonton and keep everyone up to date on the latest news and information regarding the geeky and nerdy people, groups, and events. Also, if you or someone you know would like to be featured on our show, please feel free to contact us over at northernnerdnetwork.com. Now, let's get on with the show. All right.
Feel like I missed the music, Dan.
I know the music is. So here's the thing: you got to think it's in your head, really, because I do add it later in post. So people out there will they'll get the music.
Oh, okay.
So later on,
we're not
just the video people and us don't anymore. It's very sad.
Sad. I can always just imitate a quick trombone there, right? And just do that, right? And just get that going.
There we go.
That's all we need.
I think it's funny that you're like, oh, the nerdy area in and around Edmonton, and you're up at camp right now.
Which is
I'm in Saskatchewan.
Not near Edmonton right now
not
at all.
Near Edmonton at all. But our guests here today are. So we have Stephen and Justin with us today, and they are both in Edmonton currently, right? We're not.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Just because we're not here in Edmonton doesn't mean that everyone else on our show is not from there. So
we were mostly from there. Born there. We can say born there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there. Okay. That's good.
I'm not born from there, but
you're not, well, I am. So then that's my cred coming of why I get to leave and co-host out.
Me and Justin are both from Nova Scotia.
Yep.
Well,
Nova Scotia.
So nobody's really from Edmonton. It's good times. It's good. It's fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, we are excited for tonight's show. We're going to talk a little bit about the fan film, The Court of Owls. Is that what the title is? Is that what you guys are going with? Do you have a title?
Well, in terms of how it was put up on YouTube, it's Batman: The Court of Owls. So for a while, we thought about simply having it. We've done 2 of these movies previously, because of the subject matter to have the Court of Owls in the title. So it is the title, Batman: The Court of Owls.
Batman: Court of Owls.
The Court of Owls.
You said you did 2 previous to this, right? Like I'm trying to. It was The Ride and I should know this.
And The Ride Part 2.
The Ride Part 2.
As yeah, so it was in both of them. I should remember what the titles were. But yeah, The Ride and The Ride Part 2. My dad still talks about being in your first one. He's like, my car was in it. It was all, My dad's in his 60s, so he thinks this is hilarious. So
he certainly loves that car of his.
Oh, I know. And because Stephen was gracious enough and gave us a DVD copy of the first one, and my dad has it, and he plays it, and he just for his car scenes, he's like, look at how good she looks. I'm like, oh, thanks, Dad. He's like, no, I'm talking about the car. I'm like, oh, okay. Thanks, Dad.
That's the way that is.
I remember driving back after we had done that scene that night, and it was kind of out. And we were in the back of Samantha's dad's vehicle, and he's a great hockey. He's a good old boy. So yeah, I can relate to him.
Yeah. He's my dad who plays like in the beer hockey leagues or whatever, and yeah,
that's good. Well, we're going to talk a bit about the Court of Owls a little bit later during the show, but we have Samantha Woods joining us tonight as the co-host seat. If you couldn't tell that we're missing a Chelsea voice there. No Chelsea tonight. We got Sam. who is also in the fan film, but she's the co-host. So she's put that mantle on tonight. Fancy Dancy.
Hats. I got a lot of hats. Hat.
She's wearing all the hats right now. You should see it. Like if you're not watching the video, and you get in the audio only,
they're just stacked up.
They're just stacking up all the hats.
All the hats. There's a wizard hat somewhere in there too.
It's amazing that you're wearing the wizard hat fairly low in the totem pole there.
Well, if we're really talking D&D, then I'm actually wearing my fighter hat, which I don't actually know if fighters have a hat, an armor cap. And I mean, I was just playing a lot of Minecraft today, like a lot of Minecraft.
I'm a half-orc barbarian, and I don't get a hat.
I'm a dragonborn paladin.
So
hats don't fit on dragonborns, I don't think.
That doesn't count if you have tails.
Oh yeah. Well, your tail could wear a hat, like a little, like a little thing, like when they put little hats on snakes.
Well,
come on.
A little bow tie.
A little bow tie. There we go.
Wig over there I can put on if that'll help me fit in.
Yeah, you have a little Eeyore tie and the nail in it, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess it depends on how thick his armor is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's just one of those.
I heard it's only at a second.
All right. We like to start off every show by asking and getting really down to the heart and soul of all the guests that we have on our show by asking them what they have on their geek shelf. So we're going to start. Steven, do you have something for your geek shelf?
Did you freeze there?
My office in here, and I have lots of different things. I just turn around here. My back shelf up here. I have two of them, and I have two of my helmets I wore. So one of them is from eBay. I think that one came from India, and the other one is one that I made, which is probably accurate of the two. Although for my head, I have a big head.
Well, it's so much nicer when you actually make it for yourself and not rely on someone else and in their head.
Yeah, well, especially when you're getting a lot of made props, they're usually just gone off one form, and nobody's got multiple sizing. So
yes, he is cutting out. And how about you, Justin?
Well, as you can kind of see, I'm in my nerd den. Which is like kind of the place if I were to pick up my phone and throw around. But like behind me, I got a shelf, and there's a bunch of like NECA figurines. I got Triptychon from Transformers up there too, some pops, and some like classic, like the movie Maniacs action figure stuff. I'm a huge fan of horror movies. I have been since I was a little kid. I absolutely love them. And like, if there was like one thing in here, I mean, most of the stuff is like up against the wall. But one thing that I can like reference, like my love of horror, is this guy here that I just picked up there. So. And that is a giant Part 4 Jason Voorhees NECA action figure that they came out with.
That's huge.
I know, right? It's big. There's a bunch. I got a bunch of them here. And
where are you gonna put them?
Oh, I got places all over there. I got
okay.
stuff all over my house. I got stuff all over my house. And the reason I like that one is because one of the very first Friday the 13th movies I've ever seen was Part 4, where Ted White was Jason Voorhees. And there's was so much controversy with that movie, with Ted White and the director and everything. It's just the best. But his portrayal of it was amazing, and he was one of my favorites. And then I just started getting into horror movies after that, and I have all kinds of horror junk all around. And with my incorporated my cosplay that I do, and that's how I met Steve and did these films with him, was just through my cosplay. So that's one of the things that I got that I love. I also have a wall. Actually, pick it up. So on this wall here, I have a signed Jason mask on my little stand there, and it's signed by 4 actors of the Jasons, 3 of the final girls, and of course my biggest nerd thing, my arcade in the back. So
that thing is amazing looking, by the way. And where did you get that from? Just
the arcade?
Yes, just to plug that, because I mean.
Okay, yeah, of course. So I got it from Retroactive Arcades in Edmonton. Now this guy, he will build you a custom arcade or a pinball machine or whatever you want. I brought a friend down there, and he made him a tabletop Iron Man custom arcade machine. So 2 players that just sits on a desktop instead of just having the big full-size one. Still with like 2,000 games on it, because mine has like 3,000 arcade games to the past, and they're all games that I like loved as a kid and played in the arcades when I would go down. And when I grew up in Nova Scotia in Cole Harbour, there was a spot every summer, and it was called Dan's Place, that opened up, and it was just an arcade central. So every summer, me and my friends would go down there, and we would spend as much money as we could just playing these arcade games, like Alien vs. Predator, Alien 3, the Mortal Kombat, Street Fighters, the X-Men, the full-size, gigantic
I love that
6-player X-Men fighting game.
I love that machine.
Too bad the cartoon series didn't take off. I mean, they did.
That cartoon series was still great. I don't care what anyone says.
They made another cartoon series before that where they made Wolverine Australia. And a joke. Like,
Oh.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
I actually have a copy of it on my hard drive, and you watch it and you're like, wow. It sounds like Steve's back.
You there, Steve?
Can you talk there, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a night and back is.
Oh, he's still cutting in and out.
I could.
Yeah.
I have cutting in and out.
Yeah.
In and out. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Technical fun things about doing a live show like this is that things happen while you're doing stuff.
Yeah, well, in that case, in the meantime, while we experience technical difficulties, this guy who just got stepped on by my other dog. See, go on, you two. Being wild. Go on, you two. Go on, buddy. Both yet. Go on there.
All right. So, how about you, Sam? How have you been? What have you been up to?
Well, I moved. So, I moved provinces.
Wild fishes.
I moved from Alberta to Saskatchewan. And so that's been a slow transition there. But we're finding some happy stuff. So like when you're like, oh, your nerd shelf, I'm like, mine's in boxes. So we're getting there. We're slowly finding bits and pieces as we open them. Because while I labeled well, I didn't label as well as I could have. And I'm like, I'm looking for this one specific thing. And it was in a box from this room. So there's 30 of those boxes. I don't know which one it's in. So that's kind of been my life.
Yeah.
Packing. And like combining 2 full houses into 1 full house. So there's been a lot of purging where it's like, okay, so we have 2 sets of pots. Whose set are we keeping? We still haven't sorted that yet. We still have 2 sets of pots, but it's all good.
Just take the put them all out and go. I like this one the best.
Oh, the Connery style thing. Is that what we're talking about?
Is that's still a thing, eh?
Yeah. Well, I watched the entire thing on YouTube or Netflix. That's what it is.
Netflix.
And it was like, oh, so it had some really good if it doesn't bring you joy, if it doesn't fill your life, it doesn't serve a useful purpose, then get rid of it. So I get parts of that, but then there's other parts of that I'm like, we're living in a society where there's some lady on Twitter that talked about it, and she's like, being able to throw away something that I might need later is a luxury that middle and upper class people can experience. And I was like, oh, well, that is totally a thing. Yeah, so it was like, okay, well, that might be something. Looks like Ron might be coming in. That's sweet.
Yep.
A little bit of
Am I back?
You're back.
Yeah, you're back, Steve.
Sweet.
Guess who's back?
Sweet.
Back again.
So
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's... Anyways.
we're talking about our nerd cave earlier.
Yes.
And I was going to point out, I'm going to swing this around. I actually have a picture of Samantha here in my nerd cave. Let's see if we can
Which
get it.
picture?
Hang on, wait.
Wait, is it PG picture?
Not that one.
Okay.
It's not that one.
Can you see that?
There I am.
Can you see
Oh,
that?
yeah.
I'm on the left.
Yeah. Jordan, that handsome Batman guy, and Sarah J.
She's another really great Harley from Regina, which I am now 2 hours closer to, so that's super exciting.
sweet.
So today was one of the first days I was like, okay, living in a small town is going to be a little bit of a difference. Because I was like, oh, I'm hungry. Let's just order Skip. And I'm like, oh, no, that doesn't exist out here. No, it doesn't. But like, then I just called the bar, which is like across the street, and ordered, and then walked across the street and walked back home. So I was like,
Having a bar across the street is dangerous.
well, it's just against the well, no, I mean, like, everything's in walking distance. So like, there's a bar, and then there's a Chinese food place, and then there's the post office, and then there's the beauty bar,
and there's Ron.
And there's Ron.
Yeah, my wife to the rescue.
And there's Ron.
Can you hear
Hey,
me?
Ron.
Yeah, we can hear you, Ron.
Again.
You can see me? Perfect. That'll do.
I had.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, Ron, you should tell us about one fabulous item off your nerd shelf. What?
One?
Just one.
Just
pick
one. You gotta.
One.
We gotta keep this. This.
I mean, we could
this
probably
podcast.
do an entire podcast about.
What you see behind me is the small shelf.
The small shelf.
Yeah, it's hard
We're
to pick.
all in our nerd
You
cave.
can see my big TIE fighter in the back there from Force Awakens,
Nice.
and my TIE fighter helmet. Then I got I got all three of the battle drones
Nice.
they put out. And after I bought them, I found out they're limited edition. They're wax sealed, so now I can't open them. So they just sit there in the box.
Well, you could open them.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of things here I could open, but
You're choosing them.
But they're not.
yeah,
They're not being open.
we're not here to talk about Star Wars.
Oh no, we could. Oh, God, that could be fun.
That's another tangent that we get. So, how about we just do this where we take a quick little break and then we'll come back and we will talk a little bit more about the thing that you guys are all a part of, which is the Court of Owls.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. So this episode of the Nerdcast is brought to you by ATB. And if you guys go on over, ATB knows that being an entrepreneur and business owner, it has its challenges. And that's why they've created their entrepreneur centers. So whether you're dreaming of building or growing, you can access a powerful set of tools to help your business and personal finances grow together. With locations in Edmonton, Calgary, and Lethbridge, monthly pop-ups across the province, it's just one more way ATB is helping to reinvent banking. Visit atbentrepreneurscenter.com to find the nearest location to you. And if you guys go on over there as well, they'll have a list of all the different events that they hold on, and their entrepreneur centers are absolutely fantastic. And we do encourage you, if you guys ever do get a chance, and you are a small business owner, to go and check that out. So go and check out atbentrepreneurscenter.com. All right. So like I said, we have the fine people from the wonderful fan film Batman and the Court of Owls. And so we're going to be talking with them. We got Justin, we got Ron, and we got Steven joining us tonight. And so Steven, you're the ringleader of this whole kind of operation here. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes. So I'm assuming Steve is the one that got all of us together. Kind of all met Steve through cosplay and different events that way. And this is the third rendition of your fan-filled series, yes?
It's the third film, and it's basically the kind of thing where, like you said, Sam, so we've all kind of cosplay, and cosplay, there's a lot of creative people kind of floating around in cosplay, different talents, different interests, different abilities, and so my bent was towards doing this kind of thing, so related towards. And so really from the beginning, I kind of sought out people that I thought would be good in the roles, that pulled off the characters really well, that could do a good performance on film. And so it was just a matter of putting all the nuts and bolts together 3 times. And so that's what we did this time. I sort of was inspired by the Court of Owls story, really liked the story, thought that the story lent really well to some potentially incredible visuals. Small, I think we really accomplished here. And so that's basically it. So yeah, I knew Ron through cosplay, Samantha. A little interesting story about Justin. I kind of knew about Justin before in person at a convention, and I don't think it went, but it so happened that he frequented the same gym as me at the time, the Gold's Gym, which is now closed in Westmount Shopping Mall. Great little gym. And so I saw him in the dressing room. I don't even know if he had any clothes on. And I just walked up to him and said, hey, don't you cosplay Bane? And he turned around. I thought maybe I'd get cold cocked, but I didn't. And we had a discussion, and that's kind of where our friendship started. There you go.
I'm sure there's been worse interactions in the change room, so it's not too bad.
Friendship born in the men's change room at the gym.
Right in the eyes.
Guy.
Yeah.
Who's this guy knowing what I look like? Yeah. So,
The darkness is your ally.
I was born in the nude.
Birth at the gym. Oh, so good. So, who does everybody play? Who's everybody's character in this fan film? Just so we can kind of put character to names.
Yeah, so Steven, you are?
I play Batman.
And how about you, Ron?
I played Harvey Bullock, Detective Harvey Bullock.
And you, Justin?
I was Killer Croc.
And Sam is?
I got to be the hot girl standing in the background with a Court of Owls mask on.
and I think you were
Poster cameo.
You were.
Oh yeah, right. That was. Yep.
That was a poster that was hanging in Killer Croc's room.
Yeah.
I swear there was a
tasteful outfit, though, I might add, though.
Super tasteful.
Yeah, it's very tasteful.
That was a
Super
fun
tasteful.
conversation. Stephen was like, "So, I know you do modeling, and I need like a pinup poster for like a cell." I'm like, "A prison cell?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, just here you go."
Anyway.
So there was a few of my.
That's all part of the creative process, actually, because for the longest time, I was just thinking along the lines of doing a similar poster that they have in Shawshank, because that's where that scene is inspired from. That's probably my favorite movie. And so, there's a Rita Hayworth poster. I think by the time he rips it off on the wall, it's for Kel Welsh. But after thinking about it for a while, it just kind of occurred to me that wouldn't it be great to be one of my friends on the wall, one of my cosplayers. And so, I have this friendship with Samantha, and I thought, okay, well, she's got a few little posters or pictures there that might lend well to that. And that particular shot, I thought that really lends well to that. I just wanted to be very careful about where, and on the picture,
where's that line?
Where's that? And because like they poke a hole through the photo, so we have to think of placement there.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's who we got to do. So that's always fun. See, so he meets Justin in that. We use some of my modeling photos for, sell pictures, whatever. It's fine.
I thought it was a really great way, though, to make the the whole project involved with cosplayers, in every aspect of it, with even down to the photo that was used in the cell wall. Like it's a true fan film that way, I think.
Well, yeah, and then it's everybody that's involved gets to be involved, right? Like that's one of the great things about having such a wide community, especially with cosplay and all of this creative stuff, that everybody that you talk to has a skill set that they can totally bring to the table if you're doing a fan film.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I know personally, like I absolutely love the whole storyline of the Court of Owls. But I kind of want to know a little bit more about what kind of drew you into wanting to do the Court of Owls specifically as the fan film. Like, what was the whole draw? Like, you're like, I could do this. Like, was it just because it was your favorite storyline, or what was it, what was the impetus for that?
Well, I do really like the Court of Owls storyline. It's any other, it's different than the typical Batman. We all know what's the use for the Batman, which escapes me right now. The Rogue. How's that go? The
Just
villains.
it's a different take on the mythos of Gotham City and the origins of the Wayne family and stuff. It's a lot more in depth than what you usually get for other stories where it's just he lost his parents and then he went off and trained and then he came back and became Batman. But or so many good writers around these days that are able to extrapolate on those stories to give a lot wider scope to them. That was one of my favorite things about it was that the society that had been around from his grandfather's days and stuff like that. It was it's a really good story, that's for sure.
The part that always got me for that storyline, and I'm just gonna interject here, but it's one of those things where it's Batman and he owns this city, right? And there's this organization under his nose this entire time, who's been doing all sorts of stuff, and and fairly powerful, and he doesn't have a clue about them at all. And that's the thing that really got me when I was reading the story, is that all of a sudden this Court of Owls comes out, but they've been around forever, and this is Batman City, right? And so I really always enjoyed reading that whole line. It was absolutely fantastic, and what you guys have accomplished with the fan film, it really looks really good. Can we talk a little bit about what it took to get those shots that you guys got? Because some of those locations and various shoots looked really good, especially with Batman facing the Court of Owls and everything else like that.
Great spots to go to. Steve
yeah. So there was from what I understood, it was step one: hire professional film crew.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to kind of salute Justin and Sam, Gorilla Motion Pictures. They're the same film crew that we've used for all three movies, and so established a relationship with these guys now, like the personal friendly time when we do the. We're working from a small budget, and they were really inspired and really bought into my original, which was sort of Miami. I'm a big fan of Miami Vice, and so it kind of went on from there. And so even to kind of include part of what you were saying before, it's not only loving the Court of Owls storyline, but from a creative standpoint, thinking about, okay, so you have a limited budget, but you have high-end equipment. So where can you go to get the most bang for your buck? So if you don't have 2 hours or an hour and a half, and you don't have the ability to do multiple retakes, you want to have real videos. And so that's the quest to kind of think, where would you go to get a really impactful video? So we came up with the Foundry to do the actual Court of Owls scene. And when I look at those pictures, even now, pictures or even the film, I mean, it's just stunning looking at everybody with the masks on at the wall. So that worked out really well. Me and Ron went to the top of a high rise there, which is across from the Starlight Room, where you get Edmonton skyline. Again, and when me and Justin were in the alley, that was the Starlight Room alley, which again was very gothic looking, very creepy. And really it. You want to get a powerful punch with your visual budget fan film. And I think we accomplished that rather well.
Well, I was going to say too that having the guys there from Gorilla Motion Pictures was super helpful on that night that we shot, because we actually at the last minute changed the location of where we shot the scene between Bullock and Batman, because originally we were going to do it on top of the Starlight, And when those guys went out and scoped it,
That's right.
they didn't think it would come across that we wanted it, but when they looked across and saw the top of that parkade across the street, it couldn't have turned out better, because the skyline in the background for those shots really made it made the scene so much better, and such a great fit for what we were trying to do. Like, it was really cool.
Yeah, and we should, Dan, make sure that we link Gorilla in it. So if anybody else who's wishing to do fan films wants to get in touch with them, then we can do that. And we should also interject that it's not this Sam and not this Justin that are in charge of Gorilla.
Right.
Different Sams, different Justins. So, I mean, that totally didn't make any of the group chats slightly confusing when they'd be like, Sam, wear this. And it's like, other Sam's a guy. And I'm like, but
I would have just
I thought you...
You are now Steven, and you are now Fozzie.
There we go.
Whatever, right?
But yeah, so
just give them absolutely ridiculous names.
One of the things that I absolutely loved about doing the fan film, I'm stepping on co-host, putting on my actor hat here, was that everything we did was filmed in Edmonton, but it doesn't feel like Edmonton in any of the fan films. It feels like Gotham. It feels like parts of New York or different cities or something like that. You don't necessarily look at it and go, yeah, that's Edmonton. I mean, like, there was a few where I'm like, oh, that's the Edmonton skyline, but that's because I know it, right? But like, you look at Croc in the Alley and you're like, where is this? And you're like, oh, it's the Starlight. I know that, right? So it's really cool to have Edmonton feel like a different city, but you still know it's homegrown kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know about Steven, but as a fellow like Batman nut since I was a kid, I actually keep an eye out for stuff like that when I'm out and around town. When I see stuff, I'm like, oh, that looks like this. Like, I got a good eye for that. And yeah, and so does Steven, because they were great. And the scene there in the alley with Killer Croc when he comes crawling at the camera, it's awesome. It's my 10-year-old son's favorite part. Never mind, Dad's in it at the beginning. He likes that part.
Well, you're gonna make sure we also put a link to the video in the chat description, so everybody can actually finally see what we're all talking about. We're like, that scene.
Everyone hasn't watched it yet.
Like,
What?
What scene? Who's scene? What are we doing? But yeah.
So let me.
That scene is great. The only complaint that I had is that I'm wearing so much silicone that, like, I'm doing the run and I'm running on all fours, and then I get up there and I do from one end. I think it was like 200 meters from the stairway all the way past the Starlight, all the way up to the camera where I'm running on all fours, hop on two, and then rush the camera. And then Sam's like, "That's good. We're gonna run it one more time." And then I look at him like, "Sure, yeah, okay."
Yeah, silicone's heavy. But you got it. I mean, like, Steven met you at the gym. You should be like,
oh yeah,
dude, right?
It's all good. It's just
that's
like
right.
running on all fours when I'm like all on silicone and just going and going and going. I was just like, okay, we're on take 3. But it was like a blast, and then like doing the jump onto the gate. I love like being able to do that, jump onto the gate. And I did have to apologize to Sam because we had to shoot that a couple times, because first time I jumped on the gate and I was trying my best not to hit the switch to open it. And the first time I hit it, and all you saw was me just swing. So I just jumped up and grabbed. And if I were to do this visually, it's like, oop.
Yeah, I ended up having to like stand in front of that gate to keep it
just
from
to hold it shut.
should have just zip tied it shut. And then
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
don't know. I don't think he hit the latch. I think he was just the force of him hitting it was just popping it right off. Like it was, because I'm a big guy. I put everything into holding back that gate so that it wouldn't move.
Yeah. And it's just like thump, and then I can hear Ron just below. I just hit the gate and I'm clawing up, but as I hear over that noise, I just hear Ron like.
So let me ask you guys,
know,
what does it feel like to actually, because you guys cosplay at so many different conventions and various events and stuff like that. What is it like to actually do a film for a change?
It's amazing.
It's really cool. There's a lot of standing.
Yeah, I love it.
Outstanding.
I mean,
And
you know, I have found with animation that I've said before. I think, and so like it was a natural kind of progression for me, or take the whole cosplay thing in this direction. And so I was glad that I was able to hook up with some people that a passion and interest that I have in this, and did a bang up job. I mean, I was going to say a minute ago that I have a real great amount of Justin, because he's come to all these projects with such enthusiasm, and the 2 movies that he's done, there's been a big physical component in the second one that we had to do a choreography for, and then with the second one, for a guy that size, he's extremely nimble, and when he banged me, I mean, believe me, I kind of, when you feel something right down to your bones, and there's no holding back, and that's a form of acting, so it's great.
Yeah, and I like that. Like doing the all of our choreograph for that. The gentleman who did it, the name's escaping me right now, Steve. His name, right off the bat.
Your fight choreographer?
Yeah, our head choreographer for the Ride 2. His name's escaping me right now, but I had a blast when we were in his garage, in his workshop, and we're just rolling around back and forth and just going. I think there was one point where I went to throw a punch and I just didn't stop short enough, and I think I clocked you with like 5% of Shaggy's power, and he did, and Steve just stopped, did this look like click, and he was like, and but it's like a blast rolling around, having fun. Doing the choreography is just always blast. I was hoping like for this one we do some choreography for the Croc, but it's different in a story, because I would have loved to do something where it's like it'd be a different style than when we did Batman versus Bane in the Ride 2, Batman versus Killer Croc. It'd be a completely different style of fighting, and I love that. And it was just a great experience, which actually led me into some other acting exploits that I've done since these fan film projects.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
It is an amazing thing to take your passions, and just do something else with them. And it's you can do one thing, but it's always good to just keep expanding and trying different things, and doing fan films like this is just a fantastic way. And I do want to encourage everyone out there. We will have a link somewhere in our description or in our wherever you'll find it to the fan film itself. And it's something that everyone should go and check out. Is there any other moments that you guys had, filming the last 3 fan films that really stand out for you guys?
I got a funny story for the last one that we did. So.
Oh, from the Ride Part 2?
I don't even think I don't think Steve and Ron were around for this one. So we just finished filming my scene where we just finished where I'm attacking Batman and the hallucination and everything like that. And they're like, okay, you're good. We're going to move on to this and whatnot. If you want, you can get undressed and everything. So I say, all right, so we're at the Starlight. I think I'm going to go down and have a quick drink. So instead of getting changed in a bar full of people, I just walk down the stairs and go right up to the bar and look at the bartender. And the bartender just stares at me. And he's just like, you want a drink? And I'm like, yes, please. I'm in full gear, and everybody's just staring at me here, and I'm just sitting, and then I'm just leaning against it, just all Killer Croc, and I have a drink in my hand, and I just look at everybody like, hey, how's it going? Do this. But leading into the even funnier part is that at that point I was like, okay, so from my understanding, from what I heard, is that they were thinking a lot of the guys, after they finished the shoot, were going to come down. We were going to like meet up, chat for a little bit, and then I'll take off. So I go up, into the top of the Starlight Lounge, I de-Killer Croc, I put my clothes back on, then I go downstairs, and I just kind of like waiting or whatnot, and I'm just like hanging out, and I'm just lying there, it's like, where'd everybody go? Why aren't they here yet? It's been a little bit. I mean, they were just filming outside a few minutes ago. I go upstairs, and I'm looking around, and I notice that only my box of stuff is there. And it's just like, they left me. Where'd they? So I just went down and had wings.
There you go.
Left me. I thought I was like going to be hanging out for a little bit after, but no, they left me. They abandoned me.
So like so has anybody else read the Joker graphic novel by Brian? Oh, his name starts with an A.
Is that the one?
Brian Anderson?
Spoken through the eyes of one of his henchmen. Is that the one?
Yeah. Johnny Frost or whatever it is.
Yeah, Johnny Frost. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Starlight is to me the club that they go to, that they take Joker to.
Yeah.
Like the feel of that club. Like if you're in there, so you being Killer Croc leaning against the bar, I was like, this speaks to me. that Starlight has been like my dream fan film. I think it's in the shelf. Sorry. Jordan's
So yeah, now the impetus of a new fan film is
Oh, I've been it's this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian Azzarello.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, but yeah, so like there's like scenes in here where they have Killer Croc and they're like they're at a bar and it's yeah. Anyways,
the artwork in the book is like extra creepy too. Like it's
right, so good.
really captures the feel of that character for sure. Like
But
it
yeah,
was
it's totally Starlight.
because I've been on other acting projects before but this was like one of my first chances to actually get to play a role of a character that I knew very well and that I was quite a big fan of. So it was funny because when Steven first sent me the script, he had wrote my part as Commissioner Gordon.
Ooh.
And I sent him a message and I'm like, well, I could do that, but I already do Harvey Bullock and I think it'll work better. So when I sent him a picture of my cosplay, he was like, oh yeah, no, let's definitely do it that way. And I was happy because I've always been a big fan of Harvey Bullock's. I loved him from the comic books, and I've always liked the Harvey Bullock character from the old animated series.
Oh yeah, his character in that really popped.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of that to get ready, and then even kind of like our scene that we had on the rooftop, I kind of based it off of one of the animated series episodes where Bullock lures Batman to the rooftop with the bat signal to get his help, and when someone's trying to kill him. So
that was the episode where I don't think that was the one where Killer Croc was framing him, but Killer Croc was still hunting him on that one too. So that kind of like another little fan fact for us.
It's all coming full circle here.
Right. So Stephen, is there a fourth movie in the works, or?
Yeah, it's going to be a musical.
Sam, can you repeat that?
Is there going to be a fourth movie in the works? You're doing four?
Oh.
I heard it's a musical.
Well,
a musical, singing and dancing.
A musical. Never say never. Like a big part of the fun in this is the whole creative process. That's what I love, and then the joy is seeing it all come together, and part of the joy is kind of not knowing. Scene there with Ron, for example, we shot that and I thought we did that really well, but until you actually see the final cut from Gorilla, you really kind of don't know what you have on your hands. And then when I saw that, when I saw the whole movie for that matter, it's like just wow, it just was way more than even and I just thought the acting component between me and Ron there on the roof, that was just great. And the lighting and everything was just perfect. So, there's where you kind of reap your rewards from the creative process. And, going through that is a lot of fun too. One thing that I don't think I ever had discussed with Justin previously is when I was thinking about different scenes and how I might do this and storyboard it. At one point, I had in my mind that I was going to try to do, because I like to kind of inject little scenes or little winks from a lot of my favorite movies into these. And I thought the scene from The Fugitive, if you guys are familiar with that movie, when Harrison Ford jumps out of the water tunnel there at the end with top Tommy staring him down. I thought that would be great if we could do that, but I couldn't really figure out how I could pull that off without bringing it into a green screen and some other things. So sometimes great creative ideas, regrettably, you but
I was going to say, it's like, why don't we just go to the West Edmonton Mall and you drop me off a slide?
when you're in that state of trying to think, you'd be
it's wet in there, right?
Things that enter your head. Yeah.
So
maybe
if you could give one piece of advice to like somebody who's just starting out wanting to make their own fan film, what would it be?
My advice would be not to give up. You know, it sounds a bit like a corny, almost kind of Anthony Robbins type of piece of advice. But, you know, I had a lot of people telling me, you know, you're never going to do these fan films, especially on the scale that you kind of want to do them, because it's going to cost too much money. You're going to bring in film crews and this and that. And so it's all about being, you know, ambitious and not being afraid to get on the phone and talk and being able to articulate your idea to people that matter. And so I had a few people tell me that, you know, this is going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars and this and that. And so it was really just a stroke of luck that I ended up, like I said, pitching my idea to the guys at Gorilla, and they, you know, were really kind of excited about it. And we did it all for a very reasonable amount of money, and we really got a lot for that amount of money, I think. So just don't give up on your dream. And it helps to have creative people that are involved. You know, Eddie McIntosh did the sound, for example, and he did a great job on the sound. Sound is fantastic in this movie. And then just good actors, people that, you know, are not only good cosplayers and can pull off the character effectively. I mean, Ron pulls off that character because he looks like the character. So, you know, there's a lot to be said for that. And was Harley Quinn in the movies that we've done. So she has a great job at that. So all of those things kind of combined.
Yeah, it's also, I appreciate it. It's also handy to know, like in this community, like, because like we did the masks for you and stuff, that like having people that you're like, how do you make the props and how do you make the things, right? And then having people that can do them and are also passionate about what you're doing, so that it's like they're willing to give towards that, right? Like, like I don't think any of us got paid.
Jordan.
So. Yeah,
and you and Jordan came, you know, right to my rescue for that. And once I knew that he was involved, and yourself, I knew that I was going to get a really great end product, and those masks were phenomenal masks. So, you know, and they just added to the whole visual with everybody standing there in the foundry in that well lit up, creepy room. So just amazing, those masks. I have them in my workshop right now.
No, and it's a good point. It's a good point that Steve was saying, like, you know, people telling you it's going to cost thousands of dollars, and that's not it really doesn't need to cost you thousands of dollars, but it, you know, it takes time, you know, like, because, you know, you have to build things yourself, or, you know, costumes yourself or props yourself. But, you know, especially in this community, you know, the way that it is with all of us knowing each other at the conventions and for all the different events and that, it really is not that big of a stretch to make those connections, to find the people that will be quite happy and willing to help you out. And it's just, you know, like Steven said, you know, like, don't give up. And I also say, like, just, you know, have patience, you know, because it will happen if you keep at it, and you just have to, you know, keep working at it. You know, me and Kyle with our show, The Watch, that some people are familiar with, I'm sure. You know, it took almost 2 years of me and him bugging people and asking questions and finding out, like, how do we do this? Where do we go? How can we make this happen? Till we, you know, started to move further down the line and find people that were able to, you know, to get us to that next level. And that's what I'd say to anybody, if you want to do this, is just, you know, be patient, keep working at it, and it will, you know, if you are patient,
talk to people.
Well, there's also that too, and yeah, sometimes some of us in our community are not great at that, but But yeah, the people are out there that want to help you, and I mean, and a lot of times I find that you'll find people that are just sitting there, wishing the same thing as you, that they could do something like this or be involved in something like this. So.
Oh yeah. I know, like I've been saying for years, I'm like, oh, I still want to do a fan film. Oh, I just want to do a fan film. I still want to do a fan film. And then Steven's like, I'm doing a fan film. I'm like, I'm in. I don't know what you need me to do, but I'm there. So
I think I messaged Steve like way back after the Ride Part 1 came out. And it's just like, I whenever, let me know. I'll come. I want to be in. So.
Well, yeah, and it's one of the cool things is like, though, like you had 2 people from your work come, didn't you, for that had never done anything.
I did.
Cosplay
they loved it. They loved it. My actual boss was on the show, and another colleague of mine that I've known for a long time, Ziggy and Edwin. And they talk about it to this day, how much fun they had and what a good vibe there was in there. And so I had my niece in the movie as well. She was one of the Court of Owls. I had another Batman cosplayer that I know quite well, Franz McGale, and a friend of mine, Tammy Smith. And who else was in there?
Peter.
Kyle was in there. You can recognize his beard.
Yeah.
Kyle,
yeah.
and Jocelyn. That's right. That's right. And Peter Daly, great actor. He was Red Cloak. I should actually give a shout out to him because, I met him through the cosplay thing again, and have socialized with him, met him in different situations. Party at Sam's house one time, we were held, and he was entertaining the whole crowd in there with voices. And he's a bit of an amateur actor himself, and I thought he just killed that. It was future movies, the enthusiasm, just really great.
Yeah. So that's
all right. So we gotta really wrap this up now.
On time?
We're like really pulling this along too far. But that's great. We're so excited for this film. We will have links for everyone to go and check this out. And we do encourage everyone to go and check out the fan film because, I mean, it's pretty awesome. The visuals, once again, they are just stellar. And you just need to go and check that out. All right. So we are going to take another quick little break here, and then we're going to come back real quick and talk about some of the events that are happening in and around the city of Edmonton. And we'll just be back. All right.
Woohoo!
All right, so this edition of the Nerdcast is brought to you by the Alberta Podcast Network that is powered by ATV and the Alberta Podcast Network. And if you guys head on over to albertapodcastnetwork.com, you will find just the list of amazing Alberta-made podcasts. And we have so many different podcasts on the network, from arts, foods, and culture to business and marketing, education, self-help, movies, pop culture, politics, social issues, sports, storytelling, just so many different podcasts out there that you should just go and check out. We will here. Let's just say I want you guys go to check out Press Start to Join. Press Start to Join is a podcast with Josh and Alan. And if you guys enjoy video games, movies, TV, comics, Star Wars, that's a great podcast for you guys to go and check out and listen to. Josh and Alan are absolutely fantastic. I love them. They're so great. And that is all on the Alberta Podcast Network. And like I said, there's so many different podcasts out there, and we know that there'll be something there that you will enjoy listening. So go and check out albertapodcastnetwork.com for that list of amazing Alberta-made podcasts. All right. Like I said, we got some events that are happening in the city of Edmonton, and we have all those links down in the description box below. First off, we have theater sports, and this is held on by Rapid Fire Theater, which they have multiple dates on there. So if you want to go check out some of the fantastic theater sports happening by Rapid Fire Theater, we got some times for you. We got some on Friday, February 1st. They got 7:30 to 9:30, 10 o'clock, and to 11:45. They also have on Friday, February 8th, the 15th, and on the 22nd, and on the 29th. And they got a bunch of times for all those times. Once again, we have all the descriptions down below. And this is all happening at the Citadel Theater. So go and check out that. On February 9th, we have Calgary and Edmonton Ghostbusters at Void. And this is the rec room. They have the VR kind of thing that they got going on there, which is right now it's Star Wars. I believe it's still Star Wars. And they're going to be changing it over to the Ghostbusters VR experience. And so the Ghostbusters is going to be down there. So all the big cosplayers, you guys know the Ghostbusters cosplayers, right?
Yep.
Like the Ghostbuster, like cosplay club or whatever.
Yeah, the group there.
Is.
Alberta
Yeah.
Ghostbusters, yeah.
And it's like, what are they called? Yeah, they're there.
So if you guys want to go check that out, they're going to be down at the Void, doing the VR thing. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a huge VR experience. You're going to walk around and, all the walls are actual walls. You shoot your, the Ghostbuster power proton pack. It's absolutely fantastic. It looks amazing. Moving along, we got improvised Dungeons and Dragons. And this is done by Rapid Fire Theater as well. And this is happening on March 9th, March 16th, March 23rd. They got a bunch of dates here. And on March 30th as well. And yeah, again, this is happening down at the Citadel Theater. So go and check that out. And we also have, of course, the Calgary Expo, which is happening on April 25th to 29th or 28th. And this is going to be absolutely fantastic. They just announced that they got a bunch of, they got Michael J. Fox, all that fun stuff.
And I think tickets are cheaper this year than they were last year.
Are they cheaper this year?
They're it was like $110 or something for the weekend pass. I don't know. I've always had the exhibitor passes, so I'm never.
I always work with the programming, so.
Yeah, so if you guys want to go check, obviously I'll be down there for sure. I know there'll be you guys. I'm sure you will be all down there as well. So it's going to be fantastic. You don't know?
I don't know. I don't know if we can go.
Birthday, Christmas, and New Year's rolled all into one, man.
That's right. So that is going to be happening.
Pamela Anderson's going to be there.
Yeah,
she's on their website right now.
April 25th to 28th. Moving along, we got Direct Play Expo, which is happening on May 3rd to 5th. And this is happening at the old Strathcona Performing Arts Center. And yeah, like I said, all that link is all in the description down below. And we also have one more event. Justin, what's your event there?
All right. Well, as you can see, I'm wearing the shirt. Might be a little bit backwards because I'm using my phone, but Dead by Con. So if you've ever been to Calgary Horror Con, that's been going on for the last 8 years in June in Calgary, these guys split off from that and they brought it to Edmonton. And this is the first ever horror convention that's happening in Edmonton at the Radisson Hotel on the South Side. So February 16th and 17th is when Dead by Con is running. The guests that we have right now are Felisa Rose, who was Angela in Sleepaway Camp, Camille Keaton, the Grindhouse Queen and star of 1978's I Spit on Your Grave, Tony Marone, who was Michael Myers in 1978, and we just signed on. If you've ever been on Netflix and you've seen this ad for a movie called Terrifier, which I really recommend you see, and if you like horror, it just goes back to the old school gore and everything like that. We have Art the Clown from Terrifier coming in for here. Not to mention, we're going to have all kinds of vendors. We're going to have events. We're going to have movie screenings, including, this is a big one that was actually just announced, the sequel to Camille Keaton's I Spit on Your Grave, called I Spit on Your Grave, Deja Vu, which takes place in this time frame now, 30, 40 years later after the first
Incredible.
I'm digging the movie names.
It's just going to be a wonderful convention. The VIP party, tickets are still on sale right now at www.deadbycon.ca. And you can pick up your tickets, check out all your information. You can get T-shirts just like the one I'm wearing here, Dead by Con, and show your support happening in Edmonton. Sponsored by the Pint on White, where they're holding their VIP party on Friday, February 15th.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. All right, so go and check that out as well. All right, so I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode of the Nerdcast. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Once again, we'll have all the links for the video, Batman: The Court of Owls, down in this description. And thank you guys once again. You guys have been absolutely fantastic for being on the show.
Nerds, you
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Dan, for having me on the show again. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to shout out to some of the other actors that have been in the other movies along with me. Kristen Wiley Wong. And I wanted to give a shout out to Trevor Google as well, who played, he cosplayed Superman, but he was the Warden Arkham in this movie. And he was also part of the court. And he was also Bruce Wayne's father in the alley.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All
right.
To get that out. Thank you.
Yeah.
We want to thank everyone out there who listens to the show and ask everyone that if you can, to share it with your friends on social media. The Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB, and is produced by myself along with Chelsea Thompson and Trina Schessel. You can also find more information on the Northern Nerd Network by checking us out on Twitter at Northern_Nerd, on Facebook.com/Northern Nerd, or on YouTube.com/Northern Nerd Network, or on our very own website, NorthernNerdNetwork.com. That's all the time we have for this show, and I want to thank everyone out there for watching and or listening, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Nerds Unite.